Hey everyone, it's Jax here, music producer, DJ, Arturia product specialist, and today I am here with NoiseGate to show you 4 cool sound design tricks with PolyBrute that you've never heard of before. Let's dive in. So the first trick relies on using the motion recorder, and the motion recorder basically allows you to pre-record the automation and the modulation, which you can then apply to almost any of the parameters on the PolyBrute. Alright, so to make this trick work, basically you should focus on the motion recording area that's next to the sequencer. To make it work, you enable the recording, then you press a key, and then you wiggle the parameter that you want. In my case, it's the cutoff of the ladder filter. After that, you disable the recording and set the motion recorder to once, and you continue with your melody. What is cool about this function is that it allows you to create custom and unique modulations done by your hand, which the LFOs or envelopes cannot naturally do. You can also apply this trick to the unison or the mono modes. What's great about this modulation is that it can also be looped and not only play once. To do that, press the play button until it goes to the loop option, and then continue with your playing. You can also define the rate of the looping mode. To do that, use the rate control. So that's it for the motion recording. Let's now move on to the second trick. Alright, so the second trick relies on using the velocity modulation to control rates of 3 LFOs available in the PolyBrute. This will basically allow us to transform the basic key sound in a way that each note sounds different. So to make this trick work, first off, we want to attach the 3 LFOs to 3 crucial parameters that will be the most important in this sound, and these are the level output of the Steiner filter, the master cutoff, and the sub oscillator in the VCO number 2. So to make that work, I simply create the modulation routings where LFO1 goes to the Steiner filter, LFO2 goes to the master cutoff, and LFO3 goes to the sub oscillator. To do that, I find the common points in the mode matrix, and I simply create the modulation amounts by using the main modulation amount knob. Let's see how the preset sounds at the moment. It's already kind of different, but the real interesting part comes from the velocity controlling those LFOs. So first off, I want to set up my LFOs, and I will have a relatively slow rate for each of them, and also a different waveform shape for each of these LFOs as well. So sine, sawtooth, and triangle. Now the main trick relies on attaching the velocity modulation to those 3 LFO rate controls. So to do that, I simply press the available modulation slot and wiggle the LFO rate controls. Once this is done, I find the velocity modulation source in the mode matrix and simply create the modulation by pressing the buttons and adding a high modulation amounts. Like this. Alright, so now let's see how the preset will sound with all these tricks added up. So as you can hear, every time I press a note with a different strength, it impacts how the velocity is acting on the rates of the LFOs, which then goes to the filter and the sub oscillator and the master cutoff, making each note sound differently. As you could hear, velocity controlling the rates of the LFOs can have a drastic impact and make your notes and progressions much more interesting. So at the end, let's compare the basic version of the preset with the final version to see how drastically the sound changes. So that was the original version, and now let's introduce the modulations one more time. Alright, so what I've just been doing is called duophonic aftertouch, and let me show you now how it works. So basically what it allows you to do is to have the aftertouch being applied to individual upper notes rather than to all the notes at the same time. So when you attach a parameter such as the filter with the aftertouch, it will only open up the filter in the higher range of the notes that you play, which is great for playing solos on stage. So to do it, you simply go to the settings, then you enter the expression control, and then you continue with the aftertouch settings, and here you have a few modes to choose from. So in the monophonic mode, if I will just play my notes and apply the aftertouch will be added to all the notes at the same time, like in this case. However, if I choose the duo upper split mode, now I will be able to apply the aftertouch to only the individual higher notes, like in this case. So as you could see, this option is great for those who would like to have more control over your sound while playing solos on stage. By the way, as you see, I am using the PolyBrute for the most part, but I am also using a PolyBrute Connect, which is a software counterpart to the hardware. And basically it allows you to store your presets, visualize the morphing, as well as use the PolyBrute ecosystem when making music in your DAW. Alright guys, so on top of that there is the last cool trick that I'd like to show you, and it's called the chord mode. So basically, for all of those who do not feel comfortable with playing keys, there is a great option which is called chord mode, and it allows you to play your chords with just one finger. The way it works is that you simply have to hold the polyphony key and then create your chord by pressing all of its individual notes. For example, like this. Once you put in your notes, simply release the polyphony button and then you can continue with playing. Just like this. Alright, so now to record those chords into the sequencer, simply press the sequencer button, enable the recording, enable the metronome, and then press play. Alright, so there you have it, 4 cool tricks with PolyBrute. Thanks to NoiseGate, and see you next time.